let's take the plastic off the canvas now. So you're not with plastic. And I want you to take this and get a little inky wash. So you've got this much coverage over your canvas. Then we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to subtract. So we're going to start with this shape, and we're going to, using a paper towel, we're going to pull out the shape. And in this case, Haley's going to look slightly up. So we're going to find these arcs this way. And Haley, let's look slightly up and to the left or to the right a little bit too. Perfect. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to erase this shape. And I'm going to just silhouette the form in, and you can see how beautifully that neck comes off from my angle. So I'm going to try to get as much of the shape as I can. Relatively speaking, I may start just like this. That seems to be a good beginning. I'll take my brush and then come on top of this and recognize that here where the dark hair comes into a dark background, I am not going to fight to find this edge. And here where there's a light edge against the dark background, I'm going to reinforce the darkness of this edge and start to look at the negative space to see where her neck comes in, see how that ear cuts out and where the hair comes in. So I may start in two different ways. I may start darkening up one side and lightening up the other. So as I'm finding a complicated silhouette, so this is going to be light against the dark here, and it's going to be dark against a light here. So I'm putting the dark in on her face, and I'm going to pull out the light of the background on this side. Then I'm going to come back and find these midlines. That's going to be, so I'm looking at the shape, so this is the midline, she's turned this way, the eye line may come like this. And you notice I'm not definite about this, I've got multiple references to get the general angle. Before I come in and become certain, I'm going to find the ball of the chin along the base of this midline, and I'm going to look for the curve of her face. That's going to be a difficult thing to find. So I start with the ball of the chin, and I'm going to look for this jawline as it comes up to the ear. And then I'm going to find the ear and start to draw this way. So now we're doing the same thing, but and I'm just going to play in, I'll drop in this shadow shape. So this dark is going to come in right to this side of the face. So I'm finding this dark here, and I'm going to let this dark, where it comes into, now this is an important concept, because all we're looking for is this, I call it the active shadow line. So basically everything on this side of her face is light and everything on this side of her face is dark. I'm looking to find that edge, where that line turns from dark to light. So I'm looking for the dark on this side of her nose. An eye is going to be in here somewhere, I'm not sure where it is. It's going to come across, all this is going to be dark. That's your 5 minutes. I'm going to find that upper lip, because that's such an important part of this. So here's the dark for her nose. I'm going to find where that upper lip comes in. This is not a lip. This is a dark that comes into the light side. And actually, this is a light that comes into the dark side. So I'm going to find where that dark is over here. I'm going to find the cleft of her chin. I'm going to pull this dark in to the dark side. Let this round the cleft of the chin. Look how much information that active shadow line gives us. So what we're looking for is to place this active shadow line first. Then we'll come back and modify it. So I'll find where her hair is, come back and find this. And then inside on the light to light side, I'll come back and draw much lighter and find the forms on this side of the face. And this is an important step, because this is the beginning of our painting process. Now you know where the things are, you know your drawing lines. This idea of thinking of the active shadow line in a figure is really is the key. So we're going to find a part of it, and you notice I'm not worried about whether this edge, what happens here, and I'm not worried about what happens here. I just use those to help me find this. This is what does the work in a portrait, this active shadow line. All of this work is understanding where things go, so that when you find this active shadow line, you know where to line things up, how to, around the arc of the face, how wide of that eye, all this other stuff happens. Find a part of it, and you notice I'm not worried about whether this edge, what happens here, and I'm not worried about what happens here. I just use those to help me find this. This is what does the work in a portrait, this active shadow line. All of this work is understanding where things go, so that when you find this active shadow line, you know where to line things up, how to, around the arc of the face, how wide of that eye, all this other stuff happens. All of this is what makes the painting work. All the other stuff we've been learning up until now helps us find where to put these things. Are you with me? So we're going to slow down a little bit, take the plastic off, We'll take 10 minutes for this. I want you to really make sure you've got a strong light and dark on the pose. The one that's why the lights are off to the side. We might have to turn these off to help with that ambient light. But let's get started again. Rip the plastic off. Start with a wash about this heavy.